Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Prime Time Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Morinzi. It's exactly 6:15 at Top Stories. Close to a week after the killing of soldiers in two separate attacks in the northwest region of Cameroon, leading to heavy casualties, the Minister of Defense has been to Bamenda this Wednesday to announce the immediate change of tactics to fight separatist fighters in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. And the gradual collapse of ghost towns, ensuring the return of internally displaced persons, the effective putting in place of the spatial status, and the reconstruction of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, major recommendations today during the second-year visit of the Prime Minister in the southwest regions of Cameroon. And the Delegate General for National Security has expressed his bitterness over a video that has gone viral on social media showing the shocking image of police officers torturing a suspect in a police station in Yaoundé. A renowned Cameroon football player, Samuel Eto'o has expressed interest to stand as candidate for the presidency of Cameroon's Football Federation, Fecafoot. Good evening once more. Close to a week after the killing of soldiers in two separate attacks in the northwest region of Cameroon, leading to heavy casualties, the Minister of Defense this Wednesday was in Bamenda to announce immediate change of tactics in the fight against separatist fighters in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. The details with Gladys Ambuzibang.
Less than a week after the killing of 15 soldiers and civilians in armed attacks in Bamising and Kikaikom in Gokitunja and Bui divisions of the Northwest region within a 2-week interval, the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense has announced an immediate shift in paradigm of the military approach to the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions. The military helicopter transporting the high-powered delegation from Yaoundé touched down right at the command post of the 5th Joint Military Region at Upstation Bamenda this Wednesday morning. Minister Joseph Betia Somo, accompanied by the Army Joint Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General René Claude Meka, and other members of the Military High Command, went straight to business for an in-camera meeting.
The new paradigm of the security situation, which is already in the process of consolidation in this region, as in that of the Southwest, warrants a change of approach in the action of the defense and security forces.
While extending the condolences of the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces to the bereaved biological and professional families of the fallen soldiers and civilians, the minister said findings have shown that separatist fighters receive external support.
In the aftermath of the bloody and treacherous attacks whereby the defense and security forces have been subject to, of late in this region, by irredentist separatists, obviously equipped with increasingly sophisticated equipment and benefiting, this is an established fact, from human and external material support.
Before leaving Bamenda, shortly after the urgent crisis meeting, the Minister of Defense thanked the population for their continued support to the military, for whose security, he says, the military is fighting.
The gradual return of ghost towns and the return of internally displaced persons and effective putting in place of the spatial status and the reconstruction of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon are the major recommendations after the tour visit of the Prime Minister in the southwest region of Cameroon. Ines Ondwambala has the rest of the story.
Prime Minister, head of government, has condemned the recent killings in the crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Joseph John Gute was reacting at the opening of the second session for the follow-up committee of the implementation of the recommendations of the Major National Dialogue holding in the National Advanced School of Local Administration, NASLA in Buea.
Each and every one of us has a key role to play in ensuring that the progress is sustained and that peace and security return to our much cherished regions. It is only through the collective determination of all the people of the southwest and northwest regions, as well as all well-meaning Cameroonians, that efforts of our government towards the implementation of the recommendations of the Major National Dialogue can take root in our community.
The Buea meeting is aimed at setting up strategies to reconstruct the southwest and the northwest regions, ensuring the kick-off of the economy, the progressive returns of internally displaced, and the collapse of the ghost town, and the effective implementation of the spatial status.
The promise kept, and it cheers up the spirit of the average Southwesterners, the beneficiary community of this huge project of the head of state, President of the Republic, His Excellency. Today, therefore, the coming of a special envoy, the Prime Minister.
We are here today to get the report of what has been done. And so I am here in the capacity of civil society representing women's voices. I have come here to listen, to observe, and then to draw conclusions and take back those conclusions to my peers who are women.
We have seen the processes of the city of decentralization. It has always been the dream and vision of our His Excellency before our head of state.
The in-camera meeting currently going on will continue with audiences on Thursday as Prime Minister will receive actors involved in the implementation of the recommendations of the Major National Dialogue.
Just to note that Cameroon's Prime Minister is currently in the southwest region of Cameroon to flank off government's presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. In the following report, Kejan Henry Atembe says or has been following the beat and says pundits are divided over the approach to flank off developments in the midst of the conflict history.
Cameroon's Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, is in the southwest region to set the salvo for the implementation of the reconstruction and development of the northwest and southwest regions as contained in the document of the presidential plan, coming on the heels of skirmishes in which separatist fighters have wreaked havoc of recent. The Prime Minister, who is heading the steering committee, is going with facts and figures, though some analysts think differently.
The Prime Minister is simply trying to put something to show that it's working. But you will not blame him, The reconstruction strategy plan that was put by the President of the Republic was widely criticized the world over. This is we're in an armed conflict. And in an armed conflict, there is a pedagogy in which you do things. How will you reconstruct a place where there is violence like the one we've seen in 72 hours in past week, and yesterday again, on Sunday, we had another explosive, burning the trucks and so on. How do you pass such a message in the world?
However, some key actors of the development matrix think differently. Though confident in the takeoff of the presidential plan based on data, the coordinator of the presidential plan, Paul Tasson, thinks the recent happenings will not jeopardize the implementation of the reconstruction plan. He had marked at close to 90 billion CFA francs. The government is still canvassing for financial assistance from its partners. So far, only Japan has churned out 1.5 billion CFA francs.
Shocking images of police officers in a torture operation on a suspect in Yaoundé on the night of September 15 to 16. The video that went viral on the social media shows how security forces are administering inhuman torture on a presumed criminal in the name of investigation. The Delegate General for National Security, Martin Bagangele, in a release signed Tuesday, September 21, 2021, said the officers in question have been identified and measures have been taken for them to answer before the judicial and disciplinary authorities. The said incident that occurred on the night of September 15 to 16 was at the 18 police station in Gusau in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. We'll certainly come back to that in a subsequent editions of the news. Workers of the National Engineering Equipment Pool are on strike again after 3 months of their strike action on the non-payment of salary, which authorities has promised paying but failed to do so. The workers say they are bent on going, or they are bent, or say they will insist on the strike action until their salaries are paid. More in the following story.
Gate closed, no entry, no exit. Anger, grief and frustration in the eyes of workers of the head office of National Engineering Equipment Pool. They said 13 months without payment is the reason for this morning's strike.
Our main problem of closing Margini doors again is because the Minister of Public Works came here and promised he would take everything at hand and salary will be paid till the end of the year. But unfortunately, that is not respected.
According to Zanga Shield, the doors of the only company in charge of road maintenance owned by the state will remain closed till they handle the situation.
I cannot imagine this is a whole state corporation, and the government looks, and this is the only company in charge of road maintenance owned by the government. And if the government does not want to do the necessary things to see that the company stays alive, okay, then maybe they'll only close the doors.
Placards with messages, enough is enough, we are workers with no salaries. The President of the Republic, come and rescue us. The Director General stressed up, no way of expressing himself. It's barely 3 months that they are out on the streets. The Minister of Public Works came to their rescue with promises and creation of commissions, but it's rather unfortunate that today they are still out again.
Journalists and communication experts from different countries in the Central African sub-region are taking part in a 4-day seminar that seeks to reinforce their capacity on the One Health approach that demonstrates the interconnectedness of the health of man, animals, and the environment. The emergence of certain diseases like coronavirus that is said to be transmitted from animal to man has once more come to sound a note of warning on how we manage environments and wildlife have direct links with human health. The workshop is being organized by media networks, REAC and CEDIAC, with support from GIZ and COMIFAC. Our reporter Regina Leke is one of the participants at the workshop, and she and other participants tell us more on what's happening on the ground.
One Health has become a global concept which reminds us of the interconnectivity between the health of human beings, the health of animals, and the health of our environment. They are so interconnected, and we've seen the situation with the coronavirus, whose origin has been traced from transmission from animals to man. And before coronavirus, we had even a pandemic like Ebola, which claimed millions of lives across in different parts of Africa. And today, we've all seen the effect of coronavirus. I mean, it's time for journalists and media practitioners to have their capacities reinforced in such a way that they can make people to understand the need to adequately address this issue.
This particular meeting is good because it is bringing together journalists who are coming from countries that are biodiversity rich, countries with diverse biodiversity, where you have the pristine species of wildlife, plants and so on. So, but in order for them to better communicate with the communities that are living around, very close to nature, they need to understand what the concept is. How do they craft their messages to be able to reach effectively those communities.
We will develop spots that will run through the radio. We will develop mini drama so that educate the population on the value of how to integrate, how to live with plants, animal, because keeping good plants and keeping good animals and eating them would give them good health, how to survive.
Alleged contraband or pirated textbooks distributors are currently in security dragnet in Douala following complaints from the loan importer of the said textbooks. According to importers, contraband copies of the textbooks is seriously affecting their business. As we hear the following story.
It is common to find pirated copies of approved primary and secondary school textbooks in markets nowadays. Parents complain they purchase these fake textbooks knowingly or unknowingly due to their scarcity in bookshops. I have bought a pirated textbook before. I noted because the printing was dull and some words and letters cut off. I had no choice. I was already trapped. It is normal that we purchase pirated textbooks without knowing because the books are sometimes lacking in bookshops and we are obliged to buy what we see, especially with pressure as our children need them in school. Most of these pirated versions of the textbooks are supplied in the black market and parents are obliged to buy from dealers at cheaper rates to the disadvantage of bookshop owners and publishers. The estimate of our loss is enormous. Some secondary school textbooks are expensive, but those who pirate them sell them at cheaper rates, and parents who prefer to buy them while the original copies beg for buyers in the bookshops. I am expected to sell at least 400 to 500 copies of certain textbooks annually, but it is not the case. The pirated textbooks are mostly those of secondary schools which are alleged and sold by some institutions, consequently affecting the bookshop owners. Publishers have partly been blamed for the rising.
Renowned Cameroon football player Samuel Eto'o has expressed interest to stand as a candidate for the presidency of Cameroon's Football Federation, FECAFOOT. He made the announcement on his social media pages on Tuesday, September 21, explaining that he had taken the decision out of love for Cameroon and passion for the country's football. According to the former Barcelona and Inter Milan star, time is running out, adding that waiting is an option and it was a time to rebuild Cameroon's football. Eto'o is the third former Indomitable Lion to urge for the polls or to vie for the post of president of Cameroon's Football Federation. Candidates have up to October 2021 to declare their intention to run for the election expected to take place on December 11, 2021, just a month before the start of the African Cup of Nations billed for January 9, 2022. Meanwhile, FECAFOOT is here to announce when the list of eligible candidates will be released. And that brings us to the end of this edition of News on Canal The International. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up next is The Brief. Good night.